Ibrahim Traoré reveals Putin's secret plan to liberate Africa from the West. While everyone was looking the other way, a quiet meeting in the Kremlin just laid out the future for West Africa. And no, this wasn't some empty photo op. This was the moment that Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, the youngest leader in Africa, stepped onto the world stage and basically revealed Vladimir Putin's master plan to permanently break Africa free from Western control. We're talking about a plan built on advanced weapons, nuclear power, and a complete rejection of the old colonial playbook. Tonight, we're breaking down every single part of this strategy, the military, the economic, and the political, the full blueprint they really don't want you to see. To really get what's happening in the Sahel, you have to understand the wound. This isn't just about one coup or a new alliance. This is the breaking point after more than 100 years of exploitation and straight-up humiliation. For generations, West Africa, especially nations like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, was trapped in a system of control designed by France. A system that never really went away when they got their so-called independence. It's a system called Francafrique, a hidden network of political, economic, and military deals that kept these nations dependent, their resources flowing out, and their sovereignty as little more than a joke. The most powerful symbol of this has been the CFA franc, a currency literally printed in France. For years, this system forced African countries to deposit huge chunks of their national reserves into the French treasury. While there have been some recent reforms to this arrangement, it was fundamentally a system designed to drain wealth and make sure real economic freedom was never on the table. But the control wasn't just financial. It was military. For decades, French bases were a common sight, sold to the world as a force for stability and fighting terrorism. Operation Barkhane, a French-led mission that lasted nearly a decade, was supposed to be a noble fight against jihadists. But on the ground, the people saw something very different. They saw foreign soldiers on their land while violence and chaos just got worse. The Sahel became one of the world's deadliest regions for terrorism, which proved to many that the Western presence wasn't the solution, it was part of the problem. This is the raw nerve that leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traoré are pressing on. His speeches capture the anger of a generation that is sick of being told who their friends should be, sick of watching their gold and uranium get shipped away with almost no benefit to them, and sick of a security strategy that has completely failed. In one fiery speech, Traoré put it plainly. For more than 8 years, we have been confronted with the most barbaric, the most violent form of imperialist neocolonialism. Slavery continues to impose itself on us. It was that deep-seated anger, that feeling of being trapped, that finally set the stage for a radical pivot. The people weren't just ready for a change, they were demanding it. And that demand swung the door wide open for a new player to walk in, Russia. When Ibrahim Traoré showed up in Moscow in May 2025 for Russia's 80th Victory Day parade, he wasn't just another guest. He was the face of a new, defiant Africa. His meetings with Vladimir Putin weren't about begging for aid, a practice he has publicly slammed. They were about finalizing a strategic partnership, a blueprint to systematically tear down Western influence and build a new kind of sovereignty from the ground up. This plan rests on two main pillars, a military shield and an economic revolution. Part A. The military shield, the Africa Corps and Fortress Sahel. Job number 1 was to fix the security problem that the West either couldn't or wouldn't. After kicking out French and American troops, the new alliance of Sahel states, AES, that's Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, had a massive security gap. Russia's answer was the Africa Corps. And let's be clear, this isn't just the old Wagner group with a new name. The Africa Corps is a more formal, state-run extension of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Its arrival signaled a huge shift. In January 2024, the first 100 or so Africa Corps specialists reportedly landed in Burkina Faso, tasked with providing direct security for Traoré and his government. They quickly set up a base in Lumbila, just outside the capital, making it clear this was a long-term commitment. The mission here is threefold. First, regime security. The AES leaders know that their rebellion makes them targets. The Africa Corps serves as an insurance policy against foreign-backed coups. Second, battlefield support. While its predecessor, Wagner, had a very controversial record, the Africa Corps aims to integrate more directly with the national armies of the Sahel. Russia is providing better equipment, intelligence support, and training, all without the strings and human rights lectures that came with Western help. The goal is to build a self-reliant, Russian-equipped force that can actually fight the insurgents. Putin himself said that Russia would continue to assist Burkina Faso in taking on radical groups and training its military, all based on the common goal of combating terrorism. Third, and this is the big one, it creates a strategic bloc. The AES Charter, signed in September 2023, is a pact of mutual defense. Article 6 says it all: an attack on one is an attack on all. This turns the Sahel into a unified military fortress. This alliance, backed by Russian muscle, has already created a joint force to patrol its borders, a level of cooperation that was almost impossible under Western leadership. Traoré has been adamant that this isn't about asking Russians to fight for them. He says he wants Russia's knowledge to empower his own people and modernize his own army to end the fight themselves. It's being sold not as dependency, but as empowerment, a military shield made with Russian steel, but held by African hands. Part B. The Economic Revolution, Gold, Atoms, and Agriculture. The military shield is meant to create stability. But the real liberation, the heart of this whole plan, is economic. It's a strategy to break the West's financial grip and create a new reality based on controlling their own resources and technology. First up, taking back their natural resources. For decades, Western companies have dominated mining in the Sahel, pulling out insane amounts of wealth. That's changing. As a clear sign of this shift, Burkina Faso is moving to give Russia's Nordgold and other partners access to its rich gold deposits. This isn't just business, it's a political earthquake. These deals are being structured under Burkina Faso's new mining code, which is designed to give the state a much larger share of the profits. With gold prices hitting record highs, this strategy is meant to give the government a steady stream of cash that doesn't come from the IMF or World Bank. It's a model being copied across the AES, a clear plan to pay for their sovereignty with their own resources. The second part is the most ambitious, a jump into nuclear energy. One of the biggest things holding Africa back from industrializing is the lack of cheap, reliable electricity. Less than a quarter of the people in Burkina Faso have access to power. Traoré's solution is radical: nuclear power. During the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, Burkina Faso signed a landmark agreement with Rosatom, Russia's state nuclear agency, declaring their intent to build the country's first nuclear power plant. This is a potential game-changer. Rosatom has said it could build a plant in the country within 5 to 7 years if the conditions are right. For Traoré, this is the ultimate symbol of breaking free. It means energy independence, a foundation for factories and jobs, and a massive technological leap forward. He's not asking for scraps. He's demanding a partnership in one of the most advanced fields on Earth. He's trying to build a future where his country isn't just exporting raw materials, but is generating high-tech energy. The third pillar of this economic plan is knowledge. Traoré keeps saying that the most important thing Russia can give isn't guns or money, but education. He has focused his talks with Putin on science and technology cooperation, on rebuilding Burkina Faso schools, and on training a new generation of African engineers and doctors. This is a total rejection of the Western aid model, which often just creates dependency. Traoré's vision, with Russia's backing, is to build human capital. The reopening of the Russian embassy in Ouagadougou after being closed for 30 years and the creation of a Russian house for cultural exchange are real steps in this direction. It's a long-term play. It doesn't promise a quick fix, but it promises a permanent one, a future where Africa is not just politically free, but intellectually and technologically self-sufficient. This alliance between Traoré and Putin isn't happening in a bubble. It's a massive shift in the global power balance, and it is sending waves of panic through Paris, Washington, and Brussels. And they have every reason to be scared. For decades, the Sahel was seen as France's turf, a strategic zone that gave them resources, military bases, and votes in the UN. All of that is gone. The expulsion of French, American, and other European soldiers from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger is probably the biggest geopolitical loss for the West in Africa in a generation. It's not just embarrassing. It's the total collapse of a security strategy that the West spent billions on. The creation of the Alliance of Sahel States is a direct challenge to Western-backed groups like ECOWAS. In January 2025, the three nations officially quit ECOWAS, saying the bloc failed to help them fight terror and was just a puppet for foreign powers, especially France. Now, They're building their own rival confederation, with its own defense pact, its own economic plans, and even talk of a new currency to finally ditch the CFA franc. This creates a huge pro-Russian corridor right through the heart of the Sahel, splitting the continent and creating a buffer zone that Western powers can't easily touch. But what really terrifies Western strategists is the domino effect. This isn't just about 3 countries. It's about an idea, the idea of radical sovereignty, and it's spreading like wildfire across the continent. Traoré's fiery, anti-colonial speeches resonate with a young, angry African population that is done with the old way of doing things. His videos, where he says Africa will no longer get on its knees and beg for what it already owns, are shared millions of times online, turning him into a pan-African icon. Leaders in other nations are watching very closely. This is the West's nightmare scenario, a total collapse of their influence across the continent, replaced by a network of assertive, sovereign nations looking to Moscow. And Russia is playing this perfectly. Its strategy is a form of asymmetric warfare. By supporting these new governments, providing weapons, and amplifying anti-Western anger online, Moscow is scoring huge wins for a tiny fraction of the cost of a real war. It's getting access to strategic resources like gold and uranium, securing military bases, and wrecking Western counterterrorism efforts, all while making itself look like the partner of choice for any nation that wants an alternative to the West. This fight isn't just about the Sahel. It's about opening a new front in a global power struggle, a front where the West, for now, is in full retreat. What we're all witnessing here is more than just a few deals between countries. It is a bold and calculated plan for a new world order, and it's being rolled out on the African stage. The strategy is clear. Use a Russian military shield to keep revolutionary governments alive. Cut the economic chains of the past by seizing control of their own resources, and build a new future on advanced technology like nuclear power and real knowledge sharing. Ibrahim Traoré isn't just acting like the leader of Burkina Faso anymore. He's acting like the voice of a continent that is demanding its seat at the table. He is taking on a system that, for generations, was built to keep Africa poor and dependent. His alliance with Putin is the ultimate gamble, a high-stakes bet to completely change the rules of the game. He's using the rivalry between superpowers to carve out a new future for his people, one based on dignity, sovereignty, and self-reliance. This is a defining moment in our history. A new scramble for Africa is happening, but this time, African leaders are determined to be players, not just pieces on the board. They are picking their own partners and writing their own rules. The plan is out in the open, the pieces are moving, and the world is waiting to see what happens next. But this is the real question. Is this the path to true independence? Or is it just swapping one master for another? Is this the dawn of a truly sovereign Africa, or just a new kind of dependency? Let me know your unfiltered thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead of the massive geopolitical shifts that are changing our world, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell.